Well, good morning, folks, and welcome back to Good Enough Customs. So I really hope everybody had a good Christmas. Today is actually the day after Christmas, and I am already hard at work. So I got up this morning and went to the local co-op because I live in a small town, and they got the only tire machine around, and had them go ahead and break down all 7 of the tires and wheels off of Little John. Yeah. Okay. So now I'm going to take and clean them up. Some of these are much worse than others. Get that sun out of your eyes. And I mean, you know, you can kind of see some of these are just, you know, a little dirty, and then some of these are really dirty. Actually, I got one. This guy, he's they had a hard time getting that one off getting the tire off the bead on that one. So we'll spend a little extra time on that one. Probably hit the beads with the wire wheel, try to knock all that rust off and clean them up best we can. So kind of what my plan is for today is I got to scrub all these wheels just because they're flat filthy. I mean, they're gross. So I'll probably get the air hose out here and, you know, blow them out. And then I got a bucket of water there, and I got a bucket of water there, and I think I left it inside, but I got a couple scrubby brushes and some soap, and we're going to scrub these guys down and clean them up as best we can. Then come back and sand them all down and clean them up as best we can and make them look halfway decent. And then I bought white paint. I'm not sure if I'm gonna like it or not, but worst case, I can always paint them black and throw simulators on it. So but I picked up some white paint and some primer, just to try to even everything out, make sure everything, you know, all the colors match. One thing I did notice while I was getting all the wheels unloaded earlier was that's a little different than that one. This one has a little more offset to it than this guy. So I don't recall having that on Big John whenever I was working on him. It appears though I have 2 of one type, 2 of the extra tall. No, I have 3. Yeah, I got 3 of these. So there's 1, there's 2, and that guy right there is number 3. Then I got 2 of the smoother, shorter ones, and then here's 2 of the shorter ones. So I got 4 shorter ones and 3 longer ones. Yeah, keep forgetting this thing had a spare, and so I'm like, wait a minute, how did I end up with 7 wheels? So so that's the plan for today. I guess I'm going to get to it and get to cleaning on these guys. So we'll be right back. All right, I got a couple of assorted brushes and some good old Dawn dishwashing. So all I'm gonna do is dunk and scrub, put a little stuff on here, you know what I mean? Well, that's a lot better than it was. So I still got a little mud on the bead I got to clean off, but it's on there pretty good. So probably have to get a scraper on that. But for right now, this will work just fine. Only 6 more to go. All right, these guys are all nice and dry, ready to go. So with like this guy, they didn't scuff the paint below, so it's just flaking off. So I was gonna hit this with the wire wheel. Same thing here, just try to, you know, clean up this, you know, pitted rust and stuff. And this also the one had really bad around the bead. So I gotta clean that crap up. And then of course you got this guy who's just all sorts of rusty. This is the one they're having a hard time getting the tire off the bead. So unfortunately my wire wheels are in really bad shape. So we're gonna go with the cut brush for now. Figure use that, do the majority of the work, and then I can use what's left of my wire brushes to get into the nooks and crannies. I just haven't been out to Harbor Freight to pick up another set, so I guess I'll have to put that on my list. So, all right, I'm gonna get to work knocking rust and paint and crap off. These are the 3 worst ones. Those guys over there, they aren't too bad. Just basically got to do the center ring and some of the surface rust and stuff. But those are the easier ones over there. These are the ones that are going to take the most work. So, all right, I'm gonna get to it. Well, it definitely ain't perfect, but it is a hell of a lot better. I still got some pretty good little boogers in there. Those are going to take a little bit something a little bit more aggressive than a wire wheel or a cut brush. But still got some little boogers in on this bead, and there's still a few on this top bead, or the outer bead, inner bead, this bead. Went ahead and just kind of knocked down some of this rust. It was really bad. In here, it doesn't matter a ton inside. I'll still probably hit it with something, just kind of slow the rust down. The main concern is going to be the bead, because I would like to use 4. I got 4 of these wheels and 3 of these wheels. So I figure I can run 4 of these, and then I'll just run 2 of these, and then I'll have one as kind of like a backup. So I guess the worst one of these will go as my backup, which may be this guy. But since this is one of the matching to the other ones, the 4, I figure I'll use this. This was the spare wheel, but since it matches, we'll go ahead and do 4 of these guys and then 2 of the other ones. So I'll probably just come in here with a deburr bit and just kind of deburr that and just clean it up. I'm not really looking to take material off, just try to take these little boogers that we got down here, just try to get those little guys off. So so for right now, it's kind of what my life is. Hitting them with the wire wheel, cut brush, just trying to knock as much garbage off of them as possible, so that way I can sand them and maybe have a chance at the actual paint sticking and looking kind of smooth. I don't want it to get on here and me shoot it and you'd be able to see this, these differences up underneath it. So I mean, you got runs here. Oh, there's big runs right there. Good God. So no, I'm not looking for perfect. That's not the name of the channel. So we're just wanting to make them good enough to where they look pretty good from 10 feet away. So so I guess I'm going to do that for the next good little bit. This is probably going to take me a few hours to get all this done. I'm not going to film all of it because it's pretty much the same thing I've been doing. I may film a little bit whenever I go to doing the sanding and getting everything prepped and ready for paint. So I guess we'll catch back up with y'all then. So everybody knows good paint comes from good prep. Well, we're going for okay paint, so we're going to do okay prep. Basically, I'm hitting this flat face, went ahead and hit it with the DA. That way it's just quicker and it cleans it up. I'm using an 80 grit, which is really aggressive, but I'm trying to shape through a bunch of layers of old paint. So basically just gonna go through here, hand sand all the wheels with 80 grit, and I'll probably come back and hit them with like 120 or something like that, just kind of knock it down a little bit. Or if it doesn't look too bad, we'll just go ahead and stick with the 80. I don't know. We'll see. So, but just remember, good paint comes from, you know, good prep. So we're going to sand, try to feather any edges out that we can, try to knock any burrs down as we come across them, and just kind of make it look, you know, as good as possible. I'm not going for show quality here, folks. I'm just going for something that looks, you know, pretty decent from about 10 foot. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now. And I've got a few hours left to go with this. Top side's pretty well done on this one. So flip it over. I'm gonna do the inside, which yeah, that's kind of messy, but we'll get through it. I'm tired. My arms are sore, my back is sore, and I don't want to do this anymore. So I used the heavy grit, the 80 grit, went over everything, and got these guys all sanded up, all four of those. I got this guy, just finished him, and got this guy done. And then this one was kind of like that guy, where there's a ton of sanding involved. I only need 6. I don't need to sand the 7th, I guess, for right now. I don't even have a tire to put on it. So I'm just going to do the 6 because my back's screaming and I need to go sit. I went over all these guys with 80 grit because they had, I mean, some of these have multiple layers of paint. Like this guy, you got the primer, you got the white, you got silver, you got black. This guy's primer, white, silver. There's some red from somewhere. Maybe it was this guy. I can't remember. One of these other ones had a lot of red. And then this guy was actually super simple because he was just gray with primer. So this one was really easy. Wonder why I picked that one. And then this was the next easiest, which really wasn't too bad. Got it all sanded down. Now, you got to remember, some of these are going to be inners and front, and then some of these are going to be outer rear. So I figure I've got, you know, 2 different ones, as opposed, like these 4 are all the same. I've got this guy's different, this guy's different, that guy's different. They're only different by a little bit. You can kind of see, you know, how this one kind of has a rounded profile where this one is pretty much just straight. That's the only difference. So I figure what I can do is either, and I'll pick the best looking ones, and either, you know, they'll match on both sides. So they'll either be the front wheels or the inners or the outers. It just depends. So we'll have to figure out which ones have, after we paint it, which ones have the better look on the dish side, and those will be my rear outers. This one's probably not going to be one of those. I ended up running out of sandpaper, so I had to go to the store, pick up some. I've also got some 180, which is what I'll use tomorrow when I come out here to kind of do my final sanding, you know, prep sanding, whatever you want to say. Go through these guys, because, I mean, with the 80 grit, it's going to be, you know, it'll look like I sanded it with gravel if I just go and shoot this thing. Hit it with the 180. That'll smooth it out a good bit, make it look a lot smoother. You know, it won't take near as long because I've done all the heavy work with the 80 grit. So it won't take too terribly long to get the 180 with the prep sanding ready to go. And then get them all wiped down and get everything cleaned up. And then, you know, lay them down with a good coat of primer. That's going to be a challenge all of its own, because I got to figure out where I'm going to paint these guys at. So I'll figure something out. But yeah, we'll have to get these guys all painted with primer and let that sit and cure out good. It's only going to be in the 50s tomorrow, so cure time's going to be really long. Once they cure out, we'll go ahead and hit them with some Scotch-Brite I got sitting over there. Give them a little scuff with Scotch-Brite pad. Give it a little something for the paint to actually grab, and then we'll get at it with the white paint and get them hosed down. So I guess I'm going to go inside and get a shower because I am filthy. And then I'm going to sit down and, you know, maybe get a heating pad on my back because she's tight. So I guess I'll see y'all guys in the morning. Very sore today. Shoulders, hands, back, everything's just tight as a drum. So last thing I got to do before we get ready to spray paint on these guys is I got my 180 grit sandpaper and just kind of doing a once over on these guys. Already did the front face of this guy, so you can kind of see how our you know, you can see all the sand marks really good. So I'll get in here and doesn't take a whole lot, but that kind of smooths everything out quite a bit. So I got to go through this whole thing and all 6 wheels, fronts and backs again. So hopefully I'll have all this knocked out with enough time left in the day to spray all these guys and let them sit and dry. Worst case, I can move them into the shop and turn the heat on and let them dry overnight. So all right, I'm gonna get back to it. I'm not going to record it because it's just me sanding. So I'll see y'all here in just a little bit. All right, so I got the first 3 ready to shoot. So I'm gonna go ahead and lay down primer on the inside, mainly because I got that big flat face on the outside of it. So I'm gonna lay it down on the inside. That way, even if it sits on this edge, it's no big deal. But we gotta let it dry out real good before we go flipping it over to prime the other side. So what I did to prep is, and I don't have a can of it to actually show you because I just have a little bottle Dad gave me a while back. Just use some Prep Sol and a couple of fairly lint-free towels, fairly, and put a little Prep Sol on a rag. You know, blew it off real good with the air first. Come back with a little Prep Sol, wipe all the surfaces down, and then follow it up with a dry rag just to get any residue up. So these are all prepped and ready. The Prep Sol stuff, you don't necessarily have to use it, but it does well with helping to prevent like fish eye and other contaminants that might be on the surface that might cause a fish eye or other types of issues that, you know, keep the paint from actually sticking where it's supposed to. So I just went to the hardware store and just picked up some, you know, spray primer. I thought about doing some high build on this to really, you know, slick it up, but I was like, it's a will. I'm not that worried about it. So I'm gonna hit it with a little bit of primer, mainly because we have so many different layers here of different surface, you know, different paints and surfaces. Just try to give everything a nice even coat, so that way it's all uniformly one color before I go putting the white on, because, you know, white will kind of bleed through, you know, the paint that's up underneath it. So, you know, if you got a dark paint up underneath it, unless you put it on super thick, you're going to be able to tell there's a little bit darker on that white than it would be otherwise. So just kind of make everything kind of uniform and make sure that the white paint actually sticks really well. That's why we're doing this. So all right, I'm gonna get to it. Be right back. Now we have a very uniform color on the inside of these wheels. And that was actually surprising how much it took. I guess I misfigured on that. That took damn near a whole can. So only bought 2 cans. So I'm gonna have to go buy more primer. But which which actually makes me kind of wonder about the white. I only bought 4 cans of white. I might have to buy like a can per wheel and at least one more can of primer. We'll find out when I go to do the front side how much more it takes. If I can do 3 cans or 3 wheels with 2 cans, that'd be great. I don't know. So I'm gonna let these guys sit here and dry and let them cure out really good. That way I can flip them and do the front side of it. And while that's happening, I'm gonna go back over here and get the sanding. So I'll be back. All right, I got 2 prepped and ready. One on the spool over there, getting ready to get sanded. And went ahead and flip these guys over. And we're gonna go ahead and prime the top side. Bottom side feels really good. Didn't feel soft or whatever. And we're only gonna be touching on that outer rim, you know, down here actually on the wood. So figured go ahead and give it a shot. And let's see if I got to run out. It's, you know, starting to get midday-ish, or it's a little past midday actually. So see if I have to run out and go pick up some more primer, because I need the sun. I can't do this in the shop. I don't want to do this in the shop. So, all right, let's spray these fronts. Well, all right, we've got the fronts painted. Sorry about the shadow, but that came out pretty good with the primer. And you know, like I said, it's not perfect. We got a few little imperfections. You can kind of see that there. You know, you can still see some pitting and even some of the sanding stuff from where I didn't get everything feathered. If I really wanted to go full bore, I could have had everything sandblasted, but you know, that costs money, and we're trying to do this as cheap as possible. I think right now I'm about $30 in on sandpaper. Actually, no, I'm like $40 in on sandpaper and spray paint. And a lot of time. There's a lot of time. But yeah, looks pretty good, you know, for what it is. So we're gonna let these guys sit and cure, and then while they're curing, I've got one more to sand. And then we'll get the other ones primed up. Don't worry, I'm not gonna film it. It's the exact same as these. Then we'll go and put some color down on these guys. As soon as I get these guys, you know, as soon as they've cured out good and they've dried good, we can hit them with the, you know, the Brillo pad thing. Scotch-Brite pad, that's what I was looking for. And we can Scotch-Brite these guys, give them a little surface for the new paint to actually stick to. So we'll do all that here in just a few, but first I got one more to finish sanding. Ugh. All right then, well, I got the other 3 done as far as the insides are concerned. These guys are a little rough. You can see in here where it's just got pits really bad. This one was actually like, this one had a lot of red, and it was painted with some sort of gray paint that I just, boy, 80 grit was having a hard time getting through it. That's some hard paint. So this guy's probably going to be an inner. That was just on the back side though. It was just really hard gray paint. The front side sanded pretty good. This guy, again, he had a pretty nasty gash down here. I don't know if you can see it with that shadow, but had a really nasty gash. I actually had to get in there with the flat disc and knock down the edge, because it had a nice sharp edge on it. Yeah, you know, again, we ain't going for perfect. So these turned out okay. They seem to be working just fine as far as everything's concerned here. So I'm gonna let these guys finish curing out on their back sides, or the inner side, the deep side, whatever you want to say. These guys are pretty well done. They're almost ready to be flipped over and given a good scuff. So that way I can go through with the, you know, with Scotch-Brite, scuff them up and get them ready for actual paint. I do have to go get another can of primer. This guy is probably only got about 1/3 of it left, and I still got to do the fronts on all these. And I do have other primers, but they're not the same color. And like I said, especially with white, I want to make sure we get a good solid base where everything's the same color. So I'll have to run out and get another can of primer. But in a big brain moment, I'm going to take and get these guys sprayed first with some white, just kind of see, is 4 cans enough? I would assume 4 cans is, but you never know. So I'll figure that out once I get these 3 done. If I got 2 cans left over, great, it'll work. If I don't, then I'll have to pick up more. So so we're gonna let these guys finish curing, and then I'll get to it with Scotch-Brite and move on from there. All right, Scotch-Brite time. We're not putting any real pressure on this. This is just to give the new paint something to bite on. So not putting any real pressure on this. In fact, I'm actually double stacked, so that way I make sure that I'm not putting too much pressure. Now we're gonna hit her with a little bit of Prep-Sol. Final wipe down, get the rest of the dust off, any other contaminants that may be on there. Let this thing be ready for that paint to stick, and stick for a long time, hopefully. We'll make sure you shake this really good. All right, here we go. Well, that's half of them. So that turned out pretty good. I don't know how well it translates to camera, but it looks pretty doggone good. Yeah, nice and shiny. Of course, this one's in the shadow. You know, this one actually, I ended up getting, I guess I didn't get it clean enough because I got some fish eyes going on down in this little valley area. So, whatever. Maybe it'll be an outer for the rear because the outer side did just fine. So, yeah, these turned out really, really well. I mean, yeah, buddy. Yeah, I'm pretty tickled. So, and that took about one and a third can, maybe 1 1/4 can. So it didn't take as much as I'd originally thought, because, you know, I bought 4 cans of white. I guess I could go take 1 can of white back and get a can of primer in return. We'll try that. So, all right, so I've got to run back out to the hardware store and pick up another can of primer so I can get these 3 guys knocked out. Insides are probably pretty good, pretty dry, but like I said, I'm pretty much out of primer. So I've got to get these flipped over and do the other side. So while these guys are sitting here drying and doing their thing, I reckon I can just run to the parts house real quick, pick up another can of primer, and then we can get these other ones banged out and get them painted. That way they can sit and cure overnight. I don't know where I'm gonna put them. It's a little full in there. Maybe I ought to finish up some of these projects. All right, I'll be back. Well, the sun is almost down. I dang near ran out of daylight today. So, but we've got 6 wheels, all freshly painted, lined up in a nice, neat little row, looking very nice. So, whew, that is a lot of work. my hands, like, I don't have much of fingerprints left because, sandpaper. It about chewed every bit of them off. But I think the end result's pretty good. We still got some blemishes here and there. Just kind of looking over them as I've had them sitting here. There's a few things I probably could have done a little bit better, like cleaning down in those cracks. You can kind of see there's some crap down in there that, didn't get blown out, and whatever, they're good enough. So we got 6 of them done, 6 of them ready to rock. I brought them inside. Like I said, sun's going down. It's probably cooled off to the mid upper 40s at this point. So they're not going to cure all that well outside. So I brought them into the shop. I got the heater turned on. It should keep the shop somewhere in the 60s. So I'm going to let these guys sit in here for a few hours. I'm actually going to go inside and get a shower because I'm just filthy with sanding dust and overspray, and yeah. So I think I'm going to call it a day too, because I'm pretty tired. 2 days of sanding and painting and doing it wear you out. So yeah, I'm gonna go get cleaned up, get a bite to eat, because I actually haven't eaten today, and call it a night. So I guess the next time we see these wheels will be whenever I go to get these guys mounted. Tires should be here on Friday, so maybe they'll show up a little early, maybe not. So as soon as the tires show up, I can get these guys mounted and get all that done. So yeah, good times. All right, I guess we'll catch up once I get tires on these guys, and then we can get the wheels back on the truck. We're not quite there yet, but we're getting there. That's actually tomorrow. I'm going to probably just work on the truck, try to get some of the little things knocked out on it. So at least where I can get this thing back on the ground. All right, we'll see y'all later. All right, folks, here we are. 4 days later, something like that. I don't know. I worked on all this stuff on Tuesday and Wednesday, and was sick as a dog on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yesterday, I felt okay yesterday, but I went out and got the tires mounted and balanced, and that pretty much wore me out. I was I don't know, I got some sort of flu bug or something, I don't know, but had me feeling pretty rough for a couple 3 days. And then yesterday I just kind of laid around, was like, I could probably work, but I probably ought to rest. So went ahead and rested a little bit yesterday, on top of the other 2 days where I just felt like hammered dog crap. So went and got the tires mounted and balanced yesterday. Got them drug into the shop, and that's literally all I did. So now I'm out here just kind of prepping stuff. It's not gonna make that big of a difference. I went ahead and just painted the front face and inside black on the front, and then back here in the back went ahead and just kind of hazed the drum and the hub and everything. Went ahead and shot all that black as well, mainly because they look like crap. I mean, the previous people had painted silver on there on top of, let's see, there was silver, there was red, and there was black. So hit everything with a wire wheel, smoothed it out okay. I'm not that worried about that part of it. Smoothed it out okay. Came back and shot it with some black. They're all drying right now, with the exception of the driver's rear back over here. That my heater's sitting right there, and it's it literally just shut off. So I'm gonna let that cool off over there just a little bit. Plus I went out and sprayed these rings. These go on the front wheels, and went out and sprayed those guys because they too were multicolored and looked like absolute garbage. So sanded them down, sprayed those guys as well. So that way we can at least mount up the front wheels, since I'm pretty well done under the front of the truck, as far as brakes and all that fun stuff. Now I did do a little bit of investigating on the simulators. Like I said, I have a set there sitting somewhere up in there. Front and rear simulators. They're really nice. I stole the center caps off of them to use on Big John, since I'm just running painted wheels with center caps. I like the look, and With these wheels, I haven't shown them to you yet. With these wheels, I think they'll look pretty good as well with just painted wheels and center caps. So the hubs being painted, that's a temporary thing. I've got to order the center caps. I found them. I think it was Summit. It's either Summit or Jags. They probably have them on eBay too. I haven't dug too terribly deep on it, but I'm gonna try to find those for the best price I can, so that way I can get the at least center caps on these guys. So, well, without further ado, here's what we're looking at. Hang on. Yep. Right. Yep. These things turned out really, really good. The guy at the co-op, he was just like, man. He's like, are these the same wheels? Yeah, they're the same wheels. I was like, that was 2 very hard days of sanding and prepping and painting. And he was like, man, these things look great. And they do. They turned out amazing. And the black on the white looks just good. So you can kind of see that's the front. Oh. Here's my backside. They got a little marred up during the mountain and balance setup. You know, it's spray paint, so you can't expect it to be super great. But like I said, they turned out amazing, and I can't wait to get them on the truck. So here in just a few, once the hub's finished drying up, we'll at least get the front ones mounted on. I could probably slap the rear ones on, at least on this, you know, passenger side, just for the time being, just to kind of see, you know, get an overall view of what it looks like. But that's kind of hard to do since, you know, the truck's on stands and we've got this truck in the way. There's just not a whole lot of room. But yeah, these guys turned out awesome. I'm very pleased with how they came out. We did notice while we were balancing, there's like 3 of the rear wheels. I'm gonna go ahead and use them on the rear. They're a little bent, so you kind of see them just kind of little hitch to them as they were spinning on the balancer. But that's okay. You know, like I said, we're doing this as cheaply as possible. I think all told in the wheels right now, I'm in, if you discount raw materials, I'm down on this is about $70. That's 3 cans of paint, 3 cans of primer, and 2 packs of sandpaper. And then just probably somewhere in the 12 to 15 hours of just straight work. Now that's 6 wheels. So I could have cheaped out and just done 4 of them and probably shaved that time down by a good little bit instead of doing all 6. But, you know, for rotating, you know, if I have to rotate the tires, I don't want to have to go back and be like, ah, crap, I got to fix these with a tire on them now. So, so we ain't doing that. But yeah, it's probably 15, 16 hours maybe of time put in on these guys and about $80. So, you know, sweat equity, it gets you a long ways. Now, as far as tires, these are the tires. They're 225 70s, I think. 225 75 16s. And these are the Severo HT2, the cheapest ones I could find on eBay. And also these tires, I did go back and check the measurement on them. These are actually 29 inches, just a shade over 29 inches tall. So they're shorter than what the factory would have been by about an inch. They're not too much shorter, but they'll work out well if I decide to lower the truck. So so there's that. And like I said, I paid about $600 for the tires. And then you figure in mountain balancing and all that stuff. I'm around $850. I will just call it like $850 on tires and wheels for the truck. And everybody knows tires and wheels, they can make or break a vehicle. You put the wrong wheels on it, you know, it looks like trash. So I mean, really for 6 wheels and 6 brand new tires, $850, that's not bad. It ain't bad at all. So, you know, it can be done on a budget, but you got to put a lot of sweat equity into it to make it look right. So, but anyways, all right, I'm going to finish working on the, actually the passenger rear, since the heater's off right now. Get back there and get that guy cleaned up, get him shot with some paint, and let that one start drying. And then here in just a few minutes, we'll mount up these front ones so we can kind of see what it looks like sitting on the truck. So I guess I will be back. All right, well, there we go. So got the front wheels are on. You know, painted this ring right here, and then of course inside there's black now, so that way it kind of gives it a little depth. I think that looks really good. I will eventually get the center caps. They'll be chrome. I even toyed with seeing, I've got some 16-inch beauty rings out back. They might work. I don't know. I've got the spare wheel. I figured I'd try and see if they'd fit on that wheel, because, you know, beauty rings, once you put them on there, they're going to dig into the paint, and it's going to scuff the hell out of the paint. And yeah, I don't want to do that to a fresh painted wheel. So yeah, I think it's going to look really nice. Especially the red and the white balance out really well. I think it'll look a little bit better once I get the chrome center caps at the very least on there. I did go ahead and order new lug nuts, some nice shiny ones. Ordered some new lug nuts because I had a mishmatch of different lug nuts that was on this truck. Let's see. Yeah, so we had some of these type. I've never seen those type before. And then just standard big old lug nuts. But I was also missing one on every single wheel. So I was like, you know what? It was like 35 bucks to go ahead and order a new set of lug nuts for all the wheels. So a set of 32 lug nuts, it's like, you know, it's like $1 a piece. So yeah, that turned out really, really nice. I like that. It looks really good. Now, future things down the road with the truck, if I decide to keep it, you know, like I said, I don't know if I'm going to keep this truck. I may just turn around and sell it. It's a really cool truck, though. I have a problem. But for now, it's just going to stay stock height. I never did find the freaking shocks that I was going to put on this guy. I dug around. I couldn't find them. I think after I started thinking about it, I was like, you know what? I may have loaned those out and maybe never got them back. So, if I drop it and I lower it, it's going to need new shocks anyways. So I'll just deal with it then. Hopefully these shocks still have a little bit of life left in them. We'll find out eventually whenever I get this guy on the road. So that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this one. We got plenty of stuff coming down the pike for Little John. You know, finishing up underneath, and which isn't a ton. It's buttoning up the exhaust, putting the Loctite on the bolts that were missing on the transmission. I've got a new rear tranny mount, new rubber rear tranny mount. Picked that guy up, and checking and bleeding the rear brakes. And once we get all that done, I can set this guy back on the ground, and then I'll have a little bit better access into here where I'm not having to really, you know, stand on stuff and reach constantly, where we can pull that carb off, get another carb on it. I did buy a rebuild kit just in case. I do also have a new fuel pump for this guy, so we can get that fuel pump replaced, a couple extra fuel filters to throw in line to make sure we don't clog anything up with any other trash. And then we got this wonderful Hydro Boost pump that we're gonna have to replace or troubleshoot or whatever. But it's hard to troubleshoot that guy if the damn thing won't stay running very long. So, and this thing's cold natured as all get out, and that carburetor is not helping us any. So once we get her back on the ground, we can get a lot more things knocked out and get this guy hopefully on the road here in a few weeks. So if you like the video, be sure and hit the like button. If you made it this far and you haven't subscribed, why not just go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Start the new year off right. Subscribe. And speaking of, I hope y'all guys have a happy and safe New Year's. And I guess we'll see y'all next year. Yeah. All right, folks. Y'all have a good one, and we'll see y'all next week. And just remember, ain't got to be perfect, just good enough. And sometimes good enough looks pretty damn good. Y'all take it easy.